Hello guys, this is Avcoor, and I wanted to talk about PvP for a second and my tier list and why I made the tier list this way. PvP is a bit of a nightmare in Archeland because you need to like super well in order to make a team that actually sits in the number one ranked spot, and that can be kind of difficult. Sadly, I can't even put SR characters on here because I think it will be a disservice to you for me to suggest that you can use SR characters and them to totally get walloped. Because I have tried this, and much to my chagrin, it's just the stat difference between SSRs and SR characters is very noticeable in this game. And unless you have like divine level understanding of the game, you get actually get outbeaten by stats. There are times when I have used Sanakin. I think Sanakin's like one of the best like SR units for PvP. And Sanakin was able to kill actually uh, a T0 hero that's blue who's first in rank. He's able to kill her, but she did so much damage that the team that I had left was not enough in order to finish the match. So in this tier list, I will not be including SR heroes because it'd be poor advice to send you out there and to suggest these heroes and for them you to get absolutely clobbered. But anyway, let's begin. Tier T2 are supplemental heroes. They're not bad, but they're not going to carry you through a match. And we start with Peacock. And one thing I'll say about Peacock is she's not bad. She just needs to be on a specific type of team. And if you have a dark based team, then she can actually reach T1. So that's the case with her, but the problem is it's hard to build a dark team as dark heroes are really rare and they require a lot of resources in order to be good. Like a lot of these dark heroes I'll talk about, you want them to be rank 9, and that's extremely hard to do. But if you could, she would be better. And we talk about our red mischievous archer. First of all, I would like to say that AoE is the future of this game. AoE boxes will dominate and she will get better. But the thing about it is, she needs a lot of support in order to get the job done. And sometimes that support that you would get like to give her could go to some other heroes that are higher on the list that could do a better job of it. All right. So we go to Clarice. Clarice actually was higher on the ranks, but she dropped down when Simi was introduced, when people start seeing the value of Sighart, because Sighart, people rank Sighart super, super high. I wouldn't rank him like T0, but he's up there. And one of the reasons why he's up there is because he can take hits, and Clarice can't really take hits that well. And because AoE is getting popular, it's hard to justify using her because you have to get her out there and send her in, and she's got to kill something in order to get the most out of her because she tends to die really fast. Same thing with Capet. Capet is actually was meta at one time, but because of characters like Atum, um, characters like Valek, characters like Sighart, she kind of fell off a bit because she can burst through the line, do some damage, do a little AoE, but she finds it harder and harder to kill. So yeah, Kabir, like Peacock, it can be better only on a specific type of team, and it's kind of hard to build that. He himself cannot carry a team. He can be a part of a team, but he can't carry a team. Same thing with Ivan Attar. Ivan Attar is actually good. He is actually an AoE assassin, but because of this hybrid, he doesn't have any tools to escape danger, and that really hurts him. Alicia, the fourth, is actually a great healer, but she suffers in PvP because you want passive healing. Her healing says at the end of a turn, if I healed you, you end your turn and then you take healing. which in theory is good, but you want healing to occur as your tank is being attacked, like with Velek and Clefairy. On enemy phase, they can generate healing for the tank and other units. She cannot do that. But I will say this: her stats are she has the highest stats for a healer in the game. So in the AOE meta, she does not suffer as much. It's just that her healing doesn't do as much. So she's in T1.5. T1 is we're getting better. You'll be shocked to see who's in T1, but it is what it is. Nola is actually middle of the road. So if you actually pull her, she's actually decent. You just have to build her crit up, which takes away from her magic attack. And I think she's better to advertise, but she's not as good as you would like. Her damage is off a little bit, but her range is good, and you have to think about that when you're playing her. Cash is actually a great tank, but the thing about it is, people say that the meta is blue. I will argue and say that the meta is green and blue. So she's got to fight Richard. She's got to fight Simi. And at times she has to fight Nola, and that really hurts her. That's why I think Atum and Velek are kind of sacrosanct because they can push against those red characters. But outside of that, she does not offer anything else. She does not do anything else. She's not like Richard, and she's not like Gabriel that can actually do some offense. She's a very passive tank, and though good, it is average. I gassed up Jin a lot, but playtesting shows that Jin is not as good as advertised. One thing that Jin suffers from is a star deficiency. If Jin's at 9 stars, then he becomes the person that I like gushed over. But until he reaches 9 stars, he's mediocre. His offense is good. He has all the tools he needs. He just doesn't have the stats because you're asking him to hit first and kill something. And if he can do that, then he's amazing. But considering what he's going up against, it's hard to do. And if he cannot do that, then he cannot be great. Atum is a little better than advertised, but there is a blue meta, and that's what causes him to be in T1. Lena hits for AoE. Clefairy, if she wants to, can hit for AoE, and he suffers from that. He will actually, his skill will actually kick in, and he'll regenerate, and that's good. But then he has to take another hit. Everything else about Atum is fine. He's an excellent damage dealer. He's an excellent wizard. It's just that the color meta is hurting him, like all red units in this, and T1 and T2. At T.5 get hurt. Michael is actually a suitable assassin. The reason I didn't rank her higher because T5 and T0 you really need to be a game breaker, and she's not that. She is actually a great support. Her damage is lower. If her damage was like higher, she'd be T5.05, but it's not. And her color is good, but she needs her unique weapon in order to really shine. If she has her unique weapon, then by all means, she is point 0.5, T.5. She is. Until then, she's not. Um, Marguerite is another character that suffers from star deficiency. If she's at 9 stars, I would put her ahead of Sighart because the damage she gets from her unique passive allows her to compete with the people on T0 and T0.5. But until then, she is mediocre. I played her and her damage just didn't. I was always missing like 100 or 500 points of damage. And maybe that's because she's only at rank 3. But at rank 3, it's hard to justify her being any better than T1. And that's the truth. Now we enter T0.5. These are the best of the best. They're not stupidly broken, but they're darn near close. I'm so proud that Lena is actually 2.5. I kind of knew she was there, but I've been looking at other tier lists and it confirmed that what I always knew. She was like, she's not broken, but she's really good. And she adds to the blue meta as when you look at Lena, Catch, and Charlotte, you put Valek in and you put Richard in, and you have a really solid team. In fact, you can actually take her out and put Richard in, and you have a solid team. Excuse me. And if you want, you could put her in, put Jen in, and Charlotte, and you got a pretty solid team because she comes with a leadership skill, a really darn good one, in fact, as well as Jen. But the thing about her is she is very versatile. She can do AoE, she can do single target, and she has slow. And slow is like almost like absolutely a godsend in this game for you to like strip like movement and stop people from tanking. Amazing. Catherine is one of those great unsung heroes. People don't talk about her enough, but she is really good. She is very versatile. The fact that she adds debuffs, damage, and she adds support, and she does a little bit of buffing. So she's doing everything that you could want for her to do. She's just not game breaking because the thing about wizards is since we're in the AoE meta, Clefairy can do shenanigans. Like there are times if okay, say for instance, Clefairy actually acts against someone, but she went like she went on her fourth turn. So there's two units that can use two AOE's simultaneously. Because of that, wizards are getting off the board really fast. Either with her, either with her, even with Valek sometimes, and some of the characters down here who do good AOE, wizards get off the board really hard, and she's been known for doing that. So that's why a lot of wizards that are on here don't go to T0 because they're too frail. Because the AOE meta is here, even she contributes to the AOE meta. So that's why Catherine is lower. I think she has the potential to be T0, but her HP does says otherwise. Same with Susie and Susan. They are excellent units. Excellent units. I think they're amazing damage dealers, but they just can't take hits. I mean, if you have physical defense C, that hurts you in PvP so hard. Cause this this annoying little chick actually has an AoE that can rip holes into you. In fact, if you spec her right, Charlotte has two AoEs. And if she actually goes two times, or there's a trick where Charlotte attacks twice and you have someone attack three times with this chick, Susie and Susan melt like a snowman. But outside of that, they do debuffing, they do damage, and they're a team leader for Dark. So when Dark gets a better tank, I think they're gonna be like really really good. Valek is super good, but once again, AOE's killer. So you're looking at a healer that can heal, damage, support, and do like passive damage. Uh, she's the reason why she's so low because Valek is so good that even as a healer, she's contributing to the damage output, and that's really amazing to me. Gabriel is actually a really good PvP tank. Not the best though. I won't say that. But there's a couple of things that she has going for her, and there's a couple of things she has going against her. The first thing she has going for her is the fact that she is light. She has no weaknesses. So when you fight and take hits, no one has an advantage over her. And that's her weakness as well. She doesn't have an elemental advantage. So when Charlotte goes into her, Charlotte's going to hit like for unresisted damage. Or a semi goes in. So that takes away from her DPS output, which the best tank actually has to do damage in this game. And she's not able to do that, but she does have good AoE. She does have distant counterattacks, and she does have a passive that allows her to regenerate. So there's things that are going against her and going for her. Sigheart is Sigheart gets better with time as people are realizing that he has a lot of potential. People didn't think, including myself, didn't think Sigheart was good in PvP. But once you get his like final skill, then you realize he's like really good in PvP because he turns all those buffs against the opponent, and he has sustain in his kit, and he actually puts weaken in. He's kind of like Bernhardt from Landgresser, where you thought he wasn't great at PvP, but he got better at PvP, and then they're probably going to give him something else, and he's going to be amazing at PvP, and then he'll fall off. But for the time, we can enjoy the ride because Sigheart is one of the best warriors in the game. And he's so good that he's only second to the T0 hero warrior that everyone talks about. Um, what can I say that hasn't been said about Erica? Erica is one of the best single target units in the game. So with single target strategy, she's like a linchpin because she's able to attack twice, and she attacks for unresisted damage. So she is very flexible as she can fit into many teams, many boxes, and she does not hold back any team comp. The thing about it is she's a dedicated damage dealer with a little bit of support. So don't ask her to like be like uh, do everything. She's like a broken DPS unit. So if you want her to snipe and kill things, that's what you're getting. The thing I'll say about her, she's an archer. She cannot counterattack at one range. Also, is the fact that she's limited in what she can do, but she is so good at what she can do that she is absolutely broken in that aspect. And once she gets her unique weapons, she can attack from like 3 squares away, which is absolutely insane. Uh, I think she's only going to get better with time as mono light teams become a thing. So watch out for that. Richard, everybody knew Richard was good, but once people really started playing him, he became absolutely annoying. Richard is so annoying that I kind of don't like him as a character anymore because everybody uses him. All the Korean players are using Richard. Uh, and the thing about Richard is he punishes poor positioning as like people like me like to turtle, and that is never a good idea with Richard because he actually can stun you if you line up one behind another, and people are actually forcing you to using Charlotte because you don't want to leave people alone with Charlotte, and you don't want to leave people alone with Simi. So he creates a strategic nightmare, and where you have to either slow him down with people like Lena, or you absolutely have to kill this guy with people like Atum and Sigheart. That's why Sigheart's value has gone up because he's a direct counter to Richard. And I'm glad that people are realizing that Sigheart is the answer to this guy because this guy actually comes with distant counter and he has strong offensive options. A really great unit for PvP. Simi is one of those characters who everybody knew she was good, and then they realized she was better because her range is absolutely insane, and she can choose a character and they cannot hit her on an engagement, which is one of the key linchpins of single target strategy. The fact that you can have a target unit not be able to hit back and you get a free hit, that's insane. These two characters work really well together. So if you ever have the luck of getting both, they are actually incredible at single target strategy. You actually want to go in first with Simi, and then you want to follow up with her. Her damage output is really good, and she crits a lot. So the more skill you put on her, the more dangerous she becomes. Clefairy is doing a lot of stuff. Her ability to act again allows for AoE strategies to be so rampant, where you put people like Susie or Susan, Catherine, Lena, sometimes Valek, and you wait till the last turn, and then you have them successfully go one after the other with AoE. And that is such an annoying strategy nowadays that people are trying to counteract it. I'm not sure you can counteract it unless you actually rush faster. Excuse me. Besides that, she's the best healer in the game with passive healing on active turn and enemy phase turn. And she also provides amazing support buffs, so you don't need team leader skill. She's an absolutely fantastic unit, and I'm so glad I have her. Last but not least, we'll talk about Charlotte. Charlotte is the best character in the game because she can pretty much do everything that you would want a DPS to do. She does single target, she does AoE, she even has some support skills, and she actually takes a hit if you need her to. And more importantly, she has self-reviving her kit, so she's not an assassin, but she has the effect where if you're willing to, on the last turn, you actually attack with her, just a basic attack, and then you let the unit actually hit her, or if it's a healer, heal, and then next turn you actually have the option to attack. It's strategies like that that make Charlotte so good because you can pick and place her in certain areas. Because the way her kit works is sometimes you actually want to die to get yourself in a position where you can actually hit with two AoEs and then you follow up with more AoEs and then you destroy the opponent. Or even worse, you single target the opponent, like you use her skill that does slow on the opponent, so you hit the tank, you do slow on them, and then you go after a weaker, frailer unit, and then she becomes kind of a nightmare. I thought they were going to use this guy in order to weaken her, but that didn't work. She still is the best option for a water warrior and the best option for PvP period. And with that, if you like my content, hit the like, share, subscribe button. I'll get back to you. And I hope this guide will help people think about PvP and how it works. Because as soon as you get it, it gets easier with time. Have a great night.